welcome to Talk of Good Game. It's match preview of West Ham United against Spurs. Kick off at 8:15 at London Stadium on Tuesday evening. Gonzo, for this video, though, can you kick us off with your thoughts on Spurs, please?
Yeah, new manager, new style. Look, Harry Kane is such a world-class player. Just an incredible player. And actually, I've got to say, particularly I think now he's left Tottenham, I could have a little bit more pride in him as an Englishman. And I think to see him and Bellingham overseas doing so well is really good. And I wish more English players would do it. The irony is he's gone over there in a quest for trophies to leave Tottenham, who obviously are potless, and he's going fucking up Bayern Munich for probably the only time in 20, 30 years when they won't win any trophy at all. So clearly it's Harry Kane and not Tottenham that's the problem. But I think it's incredible for Tottenham that they lose a player that good. They're world-class player and they lose him. And that's been counterbalanced by the manager being so good and the stuff and the form he's got out the rest of the team that they don't appear to have missed him. They seem to be in an exactly sort of what I would consider to be a normal Spurs position, which is not that top 2 or 3 clubs, but in the best of the rest. And I don't mean that to damn them without praise or to be demeaning. I really don't. I think it's a miracle that they lose a world-class player like that and they are still there. And I think that's a massive testament to the manager, actually.
So do you think that's a miracle for West Ham and a testament to the manager at West Ham that we've lost a world-class player and we're...
Nice. I like it. Sneaky. We're talking to the Tottenham section. What are you going on about?
1-0, Geo. Do you know something? While you can admire Kane now as an Englishman, I can still dislike Harry Kane. As a Scotsman, I can still dislike him. I think there must be an element of Spurs fans that are thinking, what if we got Postecoglou a year ago or Kane gave us one more year? Because
sure,
it's hard not to look at Spurs and think all they're lacking is a real goal scorer. That they've got a few Son scoring goals. They've got a few from Kulusevski, Richarlison, Timo.
I can still answer their question if that was their question. I got the answer for them, that is neither Tottenham nor Harry Kane are still winning any bloody trophies.
but I think they've done really well this season. Truth be told, I think if they get Champions League football, and I think they will. I think they will get Champions League football. It might be they finish 5th, but I feel somewhat confident that England will get that 5th spot in Champions League football, so they will get it. Now, obviously, last season or previous, that would be deemed not good enough, finishing 5th and getting Europa League. That would not be good enough for Spurs. But because of the circumstances and 5th being good enough for Champions League next season, it becomes a successful season. I think to transition such drastic styles from under the reins of Conte, Mourinho, over to Ange Postecoglou is one thing. To do it while losing Harry Kane is another thing. To do it while losing your captain with Hugo Lloris as well. You've lost your skipper, you've lost your vice captain, you've lost your world-class player, you've lost your goal scorer, you've changed your style. There's a whole host of big changes happening at once at Spurs. To go on and get Champions League football, I would deem that a successful, not a really successful one. That would need silverware. They would need to have gone and done something in the Carabao Cup or the FA Cup. But this would be successful in my eyes and gives them a real platform going into next season. Because when I look at that squad now, there's a lot of good players there. There's still a lot of work to be done, but there is a lot of good players there. And it feels quite balanced. Usually they're really good in attack, but really bad in defence or vice versa. But actually it feels like they've got strong players in quite a lot of different positions now. And I've been quite impressed by the players that they've brought into the club, actually. And I think it's been good. I mean, would you consider it a success if they get Champions League football?
Oh, I would. But yeah, I mean... But who cares? Who cares what I think in that sense? I think
people tuning in, maybe.
Hopefully, a couple of them, hopefully, maybe. Do you know what it is, Geo? Do you know what? And we get told so often as West Ham fans, whenever we get told that we'd rather not have David Moyes anymore, and even esteemed journalists like Jeff Stelling trot this crap out and they say, what would you prefer? Would you prefer the football under David Moyes or play tippy-tappy football and get relegated? His words, not well. They are mine because I just said them. But you know what I'm saying, right? A
Yeah,
lot
yeah.
of them say that crap, and he's one of the good ones. Stelling, I like Stelling. I really do. Got a lot of time for him. But excuse me. But even getting choked up there. But even the good ones say that stuff. And do you know what? I do wonder. It wouldn't surprise me if Spurs were told that sort of thing. Well, would you want to be in and around the top 6? Or playing tippy-tappy football and being down in mid-table, or I bet they were told stuff like that. So I think for them it's good for them to be playing football. And all I would say is, I think at West Ham would take that. If what you were going to say is, what do you want to be, sort of like top 8, play basically. To be fair, you can't actually say that we're playing not entertaining football because we've just been involved in a 4-3 game, right? But we do have a defensive manager who can't defend, right? So there's the problem. But I think if we were playing perhaps more attacking football, we didn't get to a point where the handbrake goes on and we sort of, try and see out games, but we were still in 8th position. I think we'd all take a better brand of football. And the wonderful players that we've got, like Kudus and Paqueta and Bowen, being liberated, great. And I just think for Tottenham, to have all those players, Son has looked like he's had the weight of the world on his shoulders for a couple of seasons, and now he looks liberated, and it's almost like for a lot of their players that the shackles are off, and they're just being allowed to attack. And even players you thought were on the way out, like is it just Celso or Lo Celso? Whatever his bloody name is, him, right? You thought he's on his way out, and actually, I know, you see him and thingy. Postecoglou brings him on, and again, he looks liberated. He's allowed to attack again, and you could say that with so many of the players there, I think. So I actually do think that actually it is progress, and if they can get Champions League football whilst playing that brand of football, I think it's happy days for Tottenham fans.
Yeah, and he's even managed to get Romero to start behaving himself, which seems like a bigger miracle than anything else, actually. Yeah. He's calmed him down, turning him to a good centre-back rather than a nutter. But I think, I completely agree. You've been impressed by, I assume you've been impressed by Ange Postecoglou then.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw his interview at Luton after the Luton game. The interviewer said to him, he said, very, very good there. He said, I don't know what you said at half-time, but turn things around, and they came out of a real purpose. And he turned around, he said, "Oh no, it's not me, nothing to do with me." He said, "The players." The players did it. He said, it's actually the way the substitutes performed. Actually, nothing I said. So, which is a load of old crap, but it's him being humble. Clearly, he would have said a load of good stuff in that changing room. So, I really like him. Yeah, a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, I do as well. I liked him at Celtic, wanted him at West Ham. I'm annoyed he went to Spurs. I'm annoyed at how they play football, and I'm annoyed when I hear him speak, and it just frustrates me really. Yeah. It feels like for Tottenham the perfect formula going into the summer transfer window. And while a lot of clubs will be restricted with PSR and FFP, I imagine Spurs will be perfectly fine due to the Harry Kane sale and how Daniel Levy's gone about his business previously. And also there will be a couple of players who may be getting moved on from Spurs, like Giovanni Lo Celso, Bentancur maybe, who perhaps haven't been, they're getting minutes, but not enough to warrant staying long-term at Spurs. They'll still command decent transfer fees as well. So I imagine, I wouldn't be surprised, this is just a guess, I wouldn't be surprised if Spurs were one of the busier teams in the transfer window in the summer, especially if they do get Champions League football, because they will need to strengthen, but I do think they'll have the flexibility, and it may give them an advantage over, especially clubs like Aston Villa and Newcastle, who will be sort of league rivals, or you'd expect them to be league rivals next season. I think Spurs may just have that advantage over them going into the summer. Final question in Spurs, as always, please. Can I get any players you admire?
You certainly can. I think Maddison's been a really good signing. I know he had a bit of an injury, but obviously cracking player. I like Ndoggy. Udoggy. I'm good for names, aren't I? Good doggy, as we said last time. Yeah, he's a good boy. Brennan Johnson's been a good signing. I like him. Got out of Forest at the right time, and I think he's sort of coming in to form now. And there's somebody. Yeah, sorry, I'm gonna have to click on the Tottenham squad. There's someone else that's annoying me. Who? No, I think that might. Oh no! Well, actually, no. Sorry, you said him earlier. Funny enough, it's actually Romero. I really like Romero. Romero's been one of those players that can sort of handle Antonio. So, Antonio ragdolls a lot of centre backs, not Romero. So, they got some really, really good players there.
Yeah, I think the centre-back pairings have been fantastic. And when they had their injuries at the start of the season, well, October time, you did worry that was going to destabilise. I mean, I guess it did, because they went from top of the Premier League down to fifth, which is, again, big picture, it's a successful season. But in October, it would have probably been deemed a bit disappointing that they'd finish up in fifth after such a strong start to the season. But I think a large part of that was based on their back five. I think Udogie was brilliant at left back. I think Porro's been one of the better right backs in the Premier League this season. I think he's been absolutely sensational. Some games I've watched, I've really enjoyed watching his performances, actually, in terms of just how he plays. There's been some games he's been quiet and he's not got involved enough, but there's other games I think he's been the right man and down that right-hand side, getting involved in Spurs attacks. I think the keeper, I never heard of him when he came to Spurs, and I've not been a fan of Lloris for a couple of seasons before they decided to replace him. I thought he was a very error-prone. I think he was in his prime, he was a top keeper, but I think he declined, and I think he declined quite rapidly, but he was sort of given faith for far too long. Vicario's come in. I think he's been excellent. They've got a lot of good players all over the pitch. I disagree a bit with Ben and Johnson. I think he had a slow start. He is getting back. Slow start. You're starting to see it now. Maddison, I think, was the other way. I started really brightly. He's come back from a lengthy layoff, but I think he's been quite slow coming back from his injury. But like you said, Son looks like a different player. And I think I feel like I'm still waiting for Kulusevski to really do something. Like when he first came in on loan, and they had him on the right, Son on the left, and Kane up front. They were sensational. But they were absolutely brilliant. But I'm still waiting. It's like I see good performances, but then I see games where he's just anonymous, and I'm like, where's this guy? I thought he was going to go on and become a top player. I think he's got that ability. I just think he's got another couple of levels to go. And yeah, I've been quite impressed by a few Spurs players this season. I think Basuma started the season really well. Sarr's coming to the team now. He's looking like a good option in there. So anyway, enough about Tottenham. Let's talk about our team. Team news, as always. To be fair, it's quite good for West Ham. Everybody's available, bar Edson Alvarez. Nathan Gerrard missed the game against Newcastle United. However, he was only a doubt for the Newcastle game and missed it. You would assume he might be available for the Spurs one. Gonzo, you can include him in the 11 you wish to see if you want. And also, be a bit boring if we don't have him, because I think you'll just name the same back five. So Gerrard is available, should you wish to use him. Edson Alvarez is the only one unavailable. And we'll get on to discussing that. But Gonzo, can you talk me through your goalkeepers and your back 3, 4, 5, whatever you want to do?
Well, the goalkeeper's a tough one because we really don't know. But assuming everyone,
forgot about that team news. Extra team news. Alphonso Areola had to go off injured against Newcastle.
Nice.
Yeah, carry on, Dom.
Thank you. So yeah, we don't know, but we don't know. No. And at the point of recording this video, I had a little look on the official website. 5 minutes before recording this video, there's no Alphonso Areola news on there at all. So I just don't know. Look, if he's fit, I'll play Areola. Yeah, absolutely. I'll play Areola. I think come the end of that game against Newcastle, I'm referring to, it was not good for Fabianski to concede that many goals so quickly, and one of them between the legs as well. It's never good for a keeper's confidence. So yeah, Areola in goal. Oh my word. This is a tough one, Geo, because the trouble was we're dealing with Newcastle. It got to a point where everybody became shell-shocked, so many of them. So actually Johnson was introduced and brought in and actually played 2 positions in the short time he was on the pitch. And I think ordinarily I'd probably look to see Johnson in there because Soufal had one of the worst games I've seen, not even just from him, from a West Ham player. It was truly awful. And I have no desire to see Timo Werner, who we haven't mentioned so far in this video, but he's somebody that I wanted at West Ham. And I do think, I know he can be erratic with his finishing, but he's very fast and he can change direction quickly. And I've no desire to see that, because I tell you what, I think if he plays against Soufal, I think you're seeing another penalty, basically. He won't be doing what's his name, and Anthony, here's my leg, Gordon on him, but I just think he'll twist and he'll turn him. So I don't want to see that. So I don't know what to do, because I thought Johnson looked shell shocked as well when he was on the pitch, and he didn't look great. Possibly Johnson for this one.
Yeah, I think Johnson's blameless, though.
I know.
I think Ben Johnson's completely blameless from this whole thing. The conundrum I've got is, I mean, first of all, let's do your back before to start discussing my dilemma.
Sure,
here.
sorry. Mavropanos.
Yeah,
just what a great performance. Unfair for him, I felt, against Newcastle to put that much pressure on him, because realistically, I know he scored lots of goals, but he could have walked away from that game with man of the match. That's how bloody good he was, by the way. He's our best centre back at the moment. I have no desire whatsoever to see Human Song against Kurt Zouma. Tottenham fans want to see that. Nobody else wants to see that. So I think I would like to see Nathan Gerd in there for this game, and I'd put Emerson at left back.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's maybe a bit harsh on Zoom. I don't think he did that much wrong against Newcastle, but I just felt he wasn't tested that much. I think Newcastle perhaps could have maybe tried to make more of a point of going after him. But Gerd's weakness is in the air. It's not really a game Tottenham play. Bombarding us with crosses isn't really something. I think Richarlison's good in the air, but I don't really fear the others. Maddison, Johnson, Kulusevski, Son, take your pick. I don't fear any of them, really. So I think Nathan Gerd should be fine there. And I've got even if Kurt Zouma was fantastic against Newcastle, I do have reservations over Zouma being able to play Saturday and then Tuesday and then Saturday again if required. So I'm not keen on that one. And obviously next week we've got Bayer Leverkusen in Germany. So I think Zuma's the one player I think needs to be managed very carefully over the next month or so. So I would be taking him out of this for this one for fitness more than anything. Emerson at left back, Mavropanos, I agree with everything you said. And we'll get on to right back. And this is where I'm sort of working backwards a little bit here, Gonzo, because I think Ben Johnson's an option for two positions. I think he's an option for right back, and I think he's an option for centre midfield, really. And I guess it depends on your opinion on the partnership with James Ward-Prowse and Thomas Souček, or I could reword that and say the performance of James Ward-Prowse. It depends on your opinion on that and who would you put in there. But I would like to see Johnson right back, because I guess it's for me, which is the bigger issue. And it was Vladimir Coufal against Newcastle. He was horrific. And Ben Johnson was blameless. Vladimir Coufal had blood all over his hands, really. And I have actually got a bit of sympathy for him conceding that penalty after 2 minutes. I think Anthony Gordon done him, really.
Yes,
but from that moment on, Coufal was gone. He was just riddled with nerves. There was nothing. There was no composure. I think he was very fortunate Willock didn't try and get a penalty in the second half. And you could see Willock turn around and say, "Hey, you're lucky there. I could have went down." And Coufal got a bit aggro with him. I thought, well, he's not wrong. You just stuck your leg out, and he stood up and tried to play the cross. So I would take Coufal out. So Johnson, Mavropanos, Gerd and Emerson. We have a matching back four for this one. Now moving into midfield, what would you like to see?
Well, I mean, you just asked a question there. Look, I thought James Ward-Prowse was just a body.
Yeah.
I think he was asked to stand in certain positions, asked to run around, and I think he probably did that discipline stuff. And you probably do need someone to do that. But what he didn't do was offer anything else. And for that reason, Geo, I think almost anybody can do that. Well, I say almost anybody, steady on, I'm not going to suggest, right. I play Lewis Orford because I just think, why not? I think if you spend, he's been involved in the first team training, hold your position and do what James Ward-Prowse did. And then when you get on the ball, he will be able to deliver a better passing display than James Ward-Prowse did. He's more comfortable on the ball. I just don't think there's anything to lose by doing that, really, because, as I say, he was a body. He stood in the way. He stood in position. But I think when we do our player ratings, Joe, we're not going to be talking about any sensational passes for James Ward-Prowse or any string of wonderful tackles. Or it was a pretty empty performance, but also not littered with errors either. So I think Orford can come in there and I think he can excel more.
We've got matching starting 11, I'm pretty certain here. I would also go with Lewis Orford and alongside Thomas Souček. Yeah, I mean, Calvin Phillips was almost unplayable before Newcastle. He's become incredibly unplayable. It's so much so that, us two here were keen on signing Calvin Phillips, and we've
Yeah,
been quite, let's give him a chance. We need to get
yeah,
him. We need to get him into it. But even we've given up on him now.
yeah.
We are. I wouldn't say we're his biggest fans, but the biggest two people that were keen on the move and keen on the player and hopeful that he would become a good player for West Ham in the second half of the season. That was our opinion. We were wrong. He's been horrific, but it's got to the point now. Even we don't want to see him play now. He's done, and well, he's sticking his finger up at West Ham fans as well, which, to be honest with you, I'm not very keen on.
No.
Lewis Orford, West Ham boy, West Ham family, home against Tottenham. There you go. If you were to say to Lewis Orford, pick a fixture to start in the Premier League at the London Stadium, what are you picking? I would be surprised if he didn't say Spurs at home, please. I'll have that one. That's where I would like to announce myself. He will be up for it. And there's an opportunity. There's an opportunity there to keep the shirt for Bayer Leverkusen away, which seems madness, but that's it. Now, ideally, we would have blooded him earlier on in the season. There's been opportunities, not many. You can probably count them on one hand. But there's been opportunities you could have given Lewis Orford more minutes and we would have been able to have a look at him and see if he's ready. The truth is, we do not know. But what I do know is Calvin Phillips is gone.
Sure.
And James Ward-Prowse, listen, I don't think he was bad against Newcastle. But I don't think he was involved. No. I don't think he did much. And that's not enough. When we're at home to Spurs, all 11 players are going to have to contribute. All 11 players, your worst player is going to have a decent game. That's your worst performer. You're going to have some that have an excellent game to get the 3 points on Tuesday night. I would have Orford in there. And do you know what? Thomas Souček will be the perfect person next to Lewis Orford. As someone that's a captain, against Newcastle, he was the one talking to the referee. He was the one talking to players. There was leadership throughout that game from Thomas Souček. Put him next to Orford and say, look after him. Souček will have done this throughout his career where he's had an inexperienced player next to him. He's had to communicate with him, coach him through the games. I've got no doubts that Souček will look after Lewis Orford. Some players go hiding in games, especially big ones. Thomas Souček ain't one of those guys. He steps up and he'll... Orford next to Souček. Talk me through your front four, please. And I'm going to say mine's the same as Gonzo's.
Yeah, Paqueta, although you're probably picking Paqueta. And the delicious front three, in fact, of Kudus, Antonio, and Jarrod Bowen. So, it's a good team. It's a good team. You know, there were... I think if you're taking Soufal out, Soufal was the worst player. Then actually you're taking out somebody you might be worried about in Zuma. Actually, Souček was immense against Newcastle, and there was some incredible. For all the front three to score, everyone scored.
And
that's amazing. And
Paqueta,
absolutely, yeah. So I think it's a good team. I really, really do think it's a good team. So, it doesn't quite pick itself because you've got to make those, three decisions there. But once you settle on that and you make those decisions, you do have a good team there. And you know what? I've got to say fair play to Thomas Souček because he's the last man standing in midfield after the suspensions and poor form and, well, it's not that. It was one of those who flipped the bird. All that's happened. He's the last man standing and fair play. He's stood up and... taking that responsibility of that midfield on his shoulders. Impressive, actually.
Yeah, I completely agree with the team. Gonzo's pick, really. We get it for an hour. You get out front four for an hour, then something has to change because Antonio's tired and needs substituted. But for an hour, that team can cause damage. We've just seen Spurs leave it late to win 2-1 against Luton. We went to Newcastle and scored 3. We got beat, obviously. But the problem ain't our front four. 3 goals and 3 assists between them. You could not ask for more from them. And then the fact is, I agree with what you've just said about Tom. We've not discussed the game.
No.
We're recording this Saturday night. We've not discussed the game, me and Gonzo. I also thought Souček and Mavropanos played well. So to have 6 of your outfield 10 playing really good is still losing. I mean, that's really bad. That should be enough to win the game usually. And that's why I think this team is quite a straightforward one for David Moyes. Anyway, before we discuss if we're feeling confident or even optimistic, this video is sponsored by Match Bingo. You can download the app via the link in description below. Please do use that link so they know you've come from Hammers Chat, or you can scan a QR code that's on your screen around about there right now. Now, while we got beat by Newcastle United, it was a big win for one of our subscribers because he hit the full house from the Newcastle West Ham game and scooped £100. We've had over 20 winners now in Hammers Chat, and also some of those winners have won multiple times now. We've had winners of £25, £50, and now we've had a £100 as well. For this game for West Ham Spurs, the cards are £2 each. However, there is a free card for Monday. So if you're watching this before the football games on Monday, the Leicester City game is free. So download the app for free, sign up for free, and get the free card for the Leicester City game, just so you can get to grips with what the app is all about, how you play the game. Essentially, you get 15 things you need to happen. There's first line, second line, and then full house as well. But some of the things are really easy. So you might need West Ham to take a goal kick, Spurs to have a throw in, Spurs to take a kick off. Hopefully they'll have multiple ones of those. And there's some slightly trickier ones like substitutions and a left-footed goal scored for. If you get that for West Ham, you're all right with Kudus, Paqueta, and Jarrod. I like it when my West Ham one says a left-footed goal award. I'm like, usually that's bad, but for when it's West Ham,
but both Bowen and Kudus scored with their right foot against Newcastle.
Brilliant. Anyway, thank you to Match Bingo for their continued support, and if you download it, you support us as well. But there's been a lot of people that won cash, so do get involved.
Loads of people winning cash.
It covers cricket and darts as well. Have a little look. Right, Gonzo, are you feeling optimistic?
No, not a chance in hell. I'll tell you now, our front four can cause anyone bother. Honestly, anyone. There are times, I mean, the way that Bowen has developed his right foot is something very, very special. The way he can drift off that right and still score goals, 15 Premier League goals, that is impressive by anyone's standard. Maybe not Harry Kane's enough, but it's impressive by most people's standards, particularly someone that plays wide. Antonio has made a huge difference to the team. Much was made, and by myself, by the way, of Lucas Paqueta returning and the attack. We couldn't score a goal from open play until he returned, and it really helped. But Antonio being in the team has given the central defender something to worry about and got our Brazilian playmaker playing centrally. And everything's clicked into place. And whilst we might have worried, and I speak about myself here, that Kudus maybe couldn't quite operate as effectively on the left as he did on the right, I mean, he's pretty damn good. I don't know if he's slightly better on the right, but even if not, on the left, he is still putting in some unplayable. You know, sometimes he's unplayable. The way he travels the ball, yeah, you're going to have to foul him. You have to foul him. As if you can catch him. That front four can destroy Tottenham's defence. I'm telling you, can destroy Tottenham's defence. Unfortunately, what will happen is that David Moyes will replace Antonio, and he will do so with a defensive player. And we cannot defend. And to hear, if you've not heard it, to hear Vladimir Coufal's interview after the game, and we've said he had a crap game against Newcastle, but to hear him, it was about as critical as you could be about David Moyes without mentioning David Moyes. He said we just sat back. We got 3-1 up, and then we just changed things, and we just sat back and we just waited for them to score. I mean, it's pretty damning stuff from a footballer. And unfortunately, what Moyes won't do is when he takes Antonio off, is put Mubama on, or more importantly, put Maxwell Cornet on, put someone else fast to keep that attack going. He won't. He'll just pick someone else. Probably won't be Phillips, because Phillips manages. He'll probably start with Soufal. It'll probably be Ben Johnson who comes in. And we've been saying for so much this season, Geo, that before this happened for Antonio to come back, I used to say, didn't I? I feel like we're playing with one attacker too few. And we got to the point recently where we haven't. We've been playing with the right number, the right blend of defenders, the right blend of attackers. And he can't help himself. He cannot help himself. David Moyes in his post-match press conference, he said we were 3-1 up, He said a Newcastle getting on top. We had to do something to defend. He's lost the plot. You will remember this. There was a point, and it was 62, 63 minutes, something like that. West Ham about 20 passes. I actually thought it actually resulted in actually a goal kick for Newcastle. I thought we were going to score a Barcelona. I thought I was watching Barcelona under Frank Rijkaard, right? I thought we were going to do a Barcelona here. Honestly, I'd stopped counting at 20 passes. It started to build down the left. It was the flicks. It was the triangles, right? Everyone's going, ole, 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 right? And it goes all across the pitch. Do you remember the bit I mean?
Yeah.
We were purring. I would suggest for that, whatever it was the best football I've seen in terms of technical football and retaining possession that I have seen West Ham play under David Moyes. Yet at that precise point, he thought, hold on, we're letting them back in it. Honestly, they were crocked. They were injured. They were falling to bits. They had limbs falling off, right? The Newcastle defence. He was shuffling them around. He had no more substitutions to make. They were there. They were there. All that needs to be administered was the knockout blow. And what did he do? I think I need to go defensive here. And unfortunately, can't help myself. He did exactly the same, as slightly nuanced differences, but did the same against Aston Villa. Antonio off, defensive substitution, and we surrender that lead as well. We can score against Aston Villa's defence. We can score against Newcastle's defence. We can score against Tottenham's defence. But I do not trust that he has even learned and what he's going to do and keep the foot on the throat. We can also beat Tottenham at home. Tottenham, we've got a good record against Tottenham, but I got to say I've lost all trust in the manager being able to even tactically see what's in front of him.
I'm quite optimistic, and it's in spite of. I agree with everything Gonzo just said. There's a reason I said that team will be good for an hour. There was a reason I emphasised that as well. But it's Spurs. We like playing Spurs, don't we?
Yeah.
And while a lot of things have changed at Tottenham, they've still got a little bit of Spurs about them, haven't they? It doesn't matter who the manager is. They've just got this ability to do something. Whether it be getting smashed by Fulham a few weeks ago, whether it be the chaos that endured against Chelsea earlier on at the start of the season, different manager, but it's still just chaos. It's still a bit of Spurs about it. And I love this fixture. I know. Fine, someone will say, "Yeah, I can't find." Our cup final was in June, mate. Ours was just not even a year ago. That was our cup final. But you know what? I love playing Tottenham at home. I absolutely loved it. I think rivalry in football is a wonderful thing, and I hate it whenever people downplay it as if say, "Oh, how bad? Why? Why is it bad?" I think it's a bloody good thing. Just like if Spurs beat us and they enjoy it, good on you. Enjoy it. Well, not that part, but you know what I mean. Yeah. If you beat a team that's considered rivals and you enjoy it, that's what football's about for me. I love this fixture. And there's almost something would be very West Ham. Well, Spurs have got a bit of Spurs. West Ham have got a bit of West Ham. It'd be something West Ham about getting beat by Newcastle in the fashion we did, then beating Spurs on Tuesday night in probably the same way that we lost to Newcastle, or to go 3-1 up, actually hold on this time and win that game. So I've just got a bit of optimism, and I think it's the fixture rather than anything else. But it's also that front four. Bowen, Kudus, Paqueta, Antonio, they're all in form. All four of them are in form at the moment. And I want to see a reaction from the players as well on Tuesday night. I want to see them come out pissed off that we've thrown away a 2-goal lead against Newcastle. I want them to take it out on Tottenham. And I don't necessarily mean Calvin Phillips style get sent off, but I want to see a reaction. I think we might get one, actually. If not, I'll be angry again, actually. Truth be told, I will be. I'm not over the defeat to Newcastle just yet. I'm trying to ignore it, just because the best thing to do, probably. But I'm not over it. But if we beat Tottenham, it will certainly help a lot. I'll wake up on Wednesday thinking, you know what, I bloody loved that last night. So, yeah, I've got a bit of optimism, Gonzo. I think I'm excited for the first hour of the game.
Yeah.
I'm really excited for the first hour. And I'm dreading the 60 to 70th minute period, because that's when the change has to happen. And you know what? I think Antonio does tire and needs subbed. I think both games Antonio's looked tired. But it's the wrong subs that he's doing. I think when you take out Antonio, you don't just put someone else on. You don't just lose Antonio. You lose Paqueta holding onto the ball in the middle of the pitch. You lose that that guy that can take it from your defence, hold off a couple of players and move the ball, he goes as well. The link from your defence to the attack disappears because Paqueta goes up front, and there's a massive gap in the middle of the park now. There's nobody able to get on the ball, to make things happen, to link up play. That disappears. So you lose Antonio up front and you lose Paqueta in midfield. It's one sub, but a double blow, arguably a triple blow, because then you start to retreat 10 yards as well. So first hour, bring it on. Next 10 minutes, I'm a little bit worried. In the last 20 minutes, I'm pretty nervous about that one, truth be told. So it's just a case of, can we do enough in the first 2/3 of the game in order to sort of rule out what happens in the final third, and we pick up 3 points? That's the big question for me, really. But anyway, Gonzo, can I get any final words? Oh, actually, no, not yet. This shirt needs to be won. Right, this shirt signed by Lucas Paqueta needs to be won. This is my favourite coat hanger. I've only got a few wooden ones. The rest are all cheap plastic ones, right? This is coat hangers not included. I'm keeping this. I like it pretty much. This shirt signed by Lucas Paqueta is up for grabs. If you're a patron, log into Patreon now. Prediction competition. Give us your correct score prediction in the first goal scorer of the match. It doesn't matter which tier you're subscribed to. Supporters, if you are subscribed to supporter tier and you get it right, you win the signed shirt. If you're a mild addict, you will win that, plus a signed Tony Gale autobiography. And if you're an addict and you get the correct score and the first scorer correct, and you're the overall winner, you'll win the signed shirt, a signed Tony Gale autobiography, and a signed Julian Dix print as well. 3 prizes if you're an addict. You can go to patreon.com/HammersChat. Links in the description below. Links also in the pinned comments as well. You get additional video content from myself and Gonzo. Monday morning, myself and Gonzo will be doing our player ratings from the Newcastle game as well. Loads of video content, loads of different benefits. But this prediction competition, there's a signed Lucas Paqueta shirt up for grabs, and I need it gone because I want that wooden coat hanger back. Now, Gonzo, can I get any final words from yourself and your all-important score prediction, please?
Well, you can have some final words, but they are not my words. Okay. These are the words of David Moyes, spoken on the same day, Saturday, the 30th of March, 2024. I am an attacking manager. I always attack and play attacking football. Words spoken, may I say, right? At 12 o'clock noon. All right. I'll give you his words, which was spoken. I was going to say at about 2 o'clock, but bear in mind the extra time, it's probably more like 3 o'clock. Because I think I pretty much watched a 3-hour game of football. But 2 to 3 hours later, David Moyes at 3-1 up. I thought we were looking shaky defensively, so I think the defense needed reinforcing. They can't both be true. Anyway, there you go. For that reason, I think we got a man with an identity crisis, quite frankly, and I think it's going to be West Ham 2, Tottenham 4.
I mean, there are lots of entertaining games at the minute involving West Ham, isn't it? There's a lot of high scoring, and if you're a neutral, just start tuning into West Ham games.
I'll tell you what, if you're a neutral and you want to buy a West Ham season ticket, make sure you attend the games.
And get one now because they're really cheap. They're far too cheap at the minute, so grab one now while you can. I'm going to say 2-1 West Ham. I think I'm just deluded, Gonzo. We're recording this quite late on Saturday now. It's been a long day. I think maybe I'm just emotionally all over the place or something. But I'm going to say we win 2-1. I think I'm just... I think I'm become... Do you know how you have your favourite players and stuff? At the minute, we've both got quite a... Your favourite player is becoming Edson Alvarez.
Yeah.
Mine's Jarrod Bowen. But I think I've got one for like Paqueta and Kudus and Antonio. I've got like a big soft spot for our attack, our entire attack. And I can't tell you the last time that happened. Normally I like certain players at West Ham, but sometimes the defenders or midfielders or whatever. But in terms of like 4 attacking players at once, I can't recall. Like, I'd have to go back some years. Even when we had Donatovic, I perhaps wasn't happy with the players either side of him, for example. But yeah, I look forward to this front four. We can cause chaos. We can trouble.
Paqueta's like a poor man's João Mario, isn't he?
But maybe that's why why Maxwell Cornet can't get into the team. The front four are so good. That's why Cornet can't get into the team. But yeah, I'm going to say 2-1. Just utter delusion. But I think there's a little bit of West Ham left in West Ham. And I think there's a little bit of Spurs left in Spurs. I think
Blimey.
we're going to win on Tuesday night. Simple as that.
Nice.
Anyway, right then, we're going to leave it there. If you've enjoyed this preview, please do drop a like on it by clicking thumbs up and subscribe if you're new around here. Last couple of bits of admin. Match Bingo app above Gonzo's head. Please download it. Links in the description below. Head over to patreon.com/Ham Chat if you fancy getting involved in a prediction competition. Even if you don't want to watch the videos, from £3.60 per month, you can enter the prediction competition. There's one for every single West Ham game. So even if you only want to enter the games, you can. It's less than £1 a week, and you might grab yourself a signed shirt. Collingwood has won a signed Areola shirt and a signed Jarrod Bowen shirt in the last month. Prizes up for grabs. We'll see you over there.